Hey guys, so some of you may be aware of the controversy that's been going on surrounding Scientific American over the past week or so. For those of you who aren't, here's a basic rundown. Science writer Monica Byrne posted on her blog a year ago about a meeting with a prominent editor during which she was sexually harassed, although at the time she chose not to specify exactly who it was. Last week, however, she updated the post naming scientific blog editor Bora Zivkovic. This was after the same publication deleted a blog post by Danielle Lee where she was responding to a racist, sexist comment she had received. Sadly, the attempt to silence women who speak out against incidents like this is far too common. You can bet that there were many people, particularly within the scientific community, who rushed to ask Byrne to reconsider her actions out of consideration for her harasser. Let me just share a personal anecdote here. When I was 13, I absolutely dreaded going to my 8th grade gym class, not because I was bad at it, but because my male teacher would often make inappropriate comments to me. They were never overtly sexual comments, just flirtatious and vaguely suggestive, but it was enough to make me uncomfortable, especially since I was one of the girls he seemed to single out for this treatment. Now, I wouldn't call this sexual harassment exactly, I'm not trying to equate these incidents, but my point is that women deal with this sort of inappropriate behaviour from a very young age. No matter how young we are though, we already know that we are not supposed to talk about this, and that as soon as we do, there will be consequences for us. To take an extreme but very real example, look at Daisy Coleman, the 14-year-old from Missouri who was raped by her classmates after they gave her too much alcohol and then dumped outside her house in sub-freezing temperatures. If you somehow haven't heard this story yet, it ends with her and her family being run out of town and their house being burnt down because the rapists had high connections and the community rallied around them rather than the victims. You know, I almost feel like I've heard this story before. Oh wait, I have! I'm going to include a link to Daisy's incredibly brave testimony in the description because I have a huge amount of respect for anyone who can continue to speak out against their attackers like this. What I'm really trying to say though is that none of these are isolated incidents, they're all part of a culture in which victims are silenced and we're programmed to focus on and sympathise with the attacker. Yes, there are probably situations where it's probably inappropriate and unprofessional to publicly name people, but in scenarios like this, where there is a clear victim and it's not a grey area, it feels like you're trying to derail discussion about serious issues when you question these women. This is particularly true in the case of Lee and Byrne because scientific fields are such male-dominated spaces. I can guarantee that any men who rush to silence them do not have this experience of this kind of workplace harassment. And I also respect women who choose not to name names because that's a scary decision to make, but the truth is that it often brings discussion and consequences necessary to reveal exactly how serious this behaviour is. So that's how I feel. I fully stand behind all of these women, and if you are a person who doesn't have those experiences, then I am begging you to just listen to people who do. Thanks.